Good morning. Yes, good morning. We are going to discuss about the signals and systems. Okay, signals and systems. So here the first unit is introduction to signals and systems. Okay, this is K. Shyambabu going to discuss about signals and systems. Okay, see, first of all, we will see the topics involved in this unit. See, the topics are definition of signals and systems, classification of signals, okay, and classification of systems, and then operations on signals, time shifting. What are the operations here? Time shifting operation, time scaling operation, amplitude shifting, and amplitude scaling. Okay, amplitude shifting and amplitude scaling. Okay, next, next, complex exponential and sinusoidal signals. Okay, mm, singularity functions and related functions, impulse function, step function, signum function, and ramp function. Next, analogy between vectors and signals. Analogy means there is a comparison, similarity, comparison or similarity between vectors and signals. Next, orthogonal signal space, approximation using orthogonal functions. Okay, orthogonal functions. Next, signal approximation using orthogonal functions, mean square error, closed or complete set of orthogonal functions, orthogonality in complex functions, and related problems. These are the topics involved in this first unit, introduction to signals and systems. Okay, first of all, we'll see the definition of signal and then definition of system, and after that, we'll see the classification of signals. Okay, see the signal. If you take the signal, signal is nothing but a function of one or more independent variables. F of that, for example, f of x1 comma x2 or f of t1 comma t2. That is the signal. So a signal is a function of one or more variables that conveys some information. That conveys some information about some usually physical phenomena, about some usually physical phenomena. That is the definition of signal. A signal is a function of one or more independent variables that convey information about some physical phenomena. So see here for a function f in the expression f of t1 comma t2 up to tn, each of the t suffix k is called an independent variable, while the function value itself is referred to as dependent variable. Okay, f of t1 comma t2 comma up to tn, if it is represented as f of t1, then that is called single dimensional function. If it is represented as f of t1 comma t2 comma up to tn, then r tk, this is called multi-dimensional signal. Okay, see some examples of the signals are a voltage or current. Some examples of the signals are voltage or current in an electronic circuit, V and I. Okay, the position and velocity or acceleration of an object, a force of or torque in a mechanical system. Okay, a flow rate of a liquid or gas in a chemical process, a digital image, digital video or digital audio, and a stock market index. These are all the examples of our signals. So basically, signal is a function of one or more independent variables which consist some information, which contain some information. Okay, so it is function of one or more independent variables which contain some information. Signals may be single dimensional signals or multi-dimensional signals, but these are the examples. Voltage or current in an electronic circuit. Okay, position, velocity or acceleration of an object, a force or torque in a mechanical system, flow rate of liquid or gas in a chemical process, digital image, digital video, digital audio, stock market index, etc. Okay, these are all the examples of our signals. Then coming to the classification of signals, how these signals are classified. How these signals are classified. See, based on the number of independent variables, that is dimensionality. That is called dimensionality. Based on the number of independent variables, a signal with one independent variable is said to be one dimensional. Already we discussed in the definition of the signal itself only. A signal with one independent variable is said to be one-dimensional signal. Example, audio signal. A signal with more than one independent variable is said to be multi-dimensional. That is image. It is a combination of an image is combination of n number of signals. Okay. Next, second classification is continuous or discrete independent variables. Continuous. What is meant by continuous? What is meant by continuous time signal? A signal is said to be continuous. It will be continuous for all time t. Okay. A signal with continuous independent variables is said to be continuous time. Continuous time, that is also called as CT. That is, example is voltage waveform. But similarly, a signal with a discrete independent variables is said to be discrete time, that is DT, or stock market index. Example is a stock market index. DT means a discrete time signal which can be obtained from continuous time signal. It means that the continuous time signal can be frozen for some time and it can be divided into equal intervals of the time. That is called sampling process. So like that we can get the discrete time signal. A signal with discrete independent variables is said to be discrete time, or it is also called as DT signal. Example, stock market index. Next classification is continuous or discrete dependent variable. Continuous or discrete dependent variable. A signal with a continuous dependent variable is said to be continuous valued. That is a voltage waveform already discussed. And a signal with a discrete dependent variable is said to be discrete valued. That is digital image. Example, stock market index. Okay. Next, a continuous valued, that is CT signal is said to be analog. Example, voltage waveform. And discrete value DT signal is said to be digital. So continuous value, it will be continuous for all time t. So we can treat it as analog signal. Discrete valued signal is said to be which will appear at a discrete instance of time only. That's why it will appear as a digital signal. Okay, digital signal, right? Next, graphical representation of the signals. How these signals are represented graphically. So see here, this is x of t and this is x of n. See, the continuous time signal is represented by x of t. So it will be continuous for all time t. For all time t up to t, it will be continuous. Whereas discrete time signal is represented like this. It defines at these places only. These places. These are discrete instance of times only. It is represented by x of n. Okay, so it can be frozen for some time and it can be divided into equal intervals of the time. These are all the equal intervals. These are all the equal intervals of the time. That's why this is the discrete time signal or DT signal, and this is the continuous time signal or CT signal. So this is the basic graphical representation of our signals. This is continuous time signal, which is represented by x of t, whereas discrete time signal is represented by x of n. So how to get x of n from x of t? So x of t, the sample of x of t can be frozen for some time and it can be divided into equal intervals of the time like this. These are all the equal intervals of the time. So like this discrete time signal can be obtained from the continuous time signal. Okay. So this is graphical representation of the signals. Next, why we study the signals and systems? What is the need of studying the signals and systems? So engineers build systems that process or manipulate the signals. Okay, systems can be built using the set of components. So our engineers can build systems that will process or manipulate the signals. We need a formal mathematical framework for the study of such systems. So that's why we need a framework, mathematical framework for the study of systems. Such a framework is necessary in order to ensure that the system will meet the required specifications like performance and safety. If a system fails to meet the required specifications or fails to work altogether, negative consequences usually ensue. So when a system fails to operate as expected, the consequences can sometimes be catastrophic. Okay, consequences sometimes be catastrophic. Okay, this is the need of signals and systems. So system can be processed or manipulates the signals. Okay, some formal mathematical framework for the study of such systems can be needed. So such a framework is necessary in order to ensure that the system will meet the required specifications like performance and safety. The system fails to meet these required specifications or fails to work altogether, negative consequences usually ensue. Okay, negative consequences. Okay, right. Next, coming to the signals. So these signals were introduced to continuous time signal and discrete time signals were introduced. Okay, it is a continuous. If we take a continuous time signal, which is called a function, and dt signal, discrete time signal, is called a sequence. Although strictly speaking, sequence is a special case of a function. Sequence means discrete time signal. It is a special case of continuous time signal, that is function. Although sequence is a special case of a function, where the domain of the function is the integers. We will use the term function exclusively to mean a function that is not a sequence. So a sequence is nothing but a special case of function, but function is not a sequence. Okay, the nth element of a sequence x is denoted as x of n or xn, x of n or xn. Okay, so next, coming to the properties of signals. What are the properties of signals? Okay, properties of signals. Coming to the properties of signals, here even signals are there, odd signals are there, right? First of all, if we take the even signal, first of all, if we take the even signal, first of all, if we take the even signal, how the even signal is defined? What is the definition of even signal? How it is expressed mathematically? So a function x is said to be even if it satisfies the condition x of t is equal to x of minus t. See here, x of minus t for all t. So this is the definition of our even signal. X of t is equal to x of minus t. Okay, function for sequence, it is x of n is equal to x of minus n for all values of n. Remember, x of t is nothing but a function, x of n is nothing but a sequence. X of t is represented as continuous time signal, x of n is represented as discrete time signal. Okay, discrete time signals can be represented as a sequence, whereas continuous time signal can be represented as function. Okay, right. So a sequence x is said to be even if it satisfies x of n is equal to x of minus n for all n. Okay, geometrically, the graph of an even signal is symmetric about the origin. So it will be symmetric about the origin. Okay, some examples for even signals are shown like this. See, this is x of t. See, so this is nothing but the mirror image of this one, mirror image of x of t. So that's why this is symmetric about the origin. Okay, same, this is exact replica of the x of t, but it is represented in this quadrant. So it is represented as x of t equal to x of minus t. Similarly, x of n is equal to x of minus n. So this is called even signal. Then coming to the odd signal. What is meant by an odd signal? A function which satisfies the condition. A function x is said to be odd if it satisfies x of t is equal to minus of x of minus t. What is x of minus t? This is mirror image. If you put minus before this is nothing but the condition for odd signal. So x of t is equal to minus of x of minus t for all t. For sequence x of t, x of n is equal to minus of x of minus n for all n. Okay. Geometrically, the graph of an odd signal is antisymmetric about the origin. It is antisymmetric. It is antisymmetric. Why? Because negative sign is there in between, in before this expression. So that's why it is antisymmetric about the origin. So an odd signal x must be such that x of 0 equal to 0. Some examples of odd signals are shown below. So this is the function of odd signal, and this is the sequence of the odd signal. So this will appear in opposite side. This will appear in opposite side. Okay, this is antisymmetric about the origin. Okay, antisymmetric about the origin. This is also example for even signals. Okay, next coming to the deterministic and random signals. Deterministic and random signals. Okay, coming to the deterministic signals. If we take the behavior of the deterministic signal, these signals are predictable with respect to time. These are depending upon the time. These will depend upon the time. Behavior of the signals is predictable with respect to time. There is no uncertainty with respect to its value at any time. These signals can be expressed mathematically as x of t equal to sine 3t, which is deterministic signal, which is predictable with respect to time. Okay, x of t equal to sine 3t. Okay, so this is called deterministic signal. Next, random signal. What is meant by random signal? Not predictable. It does not depend upon the time. So deterministic means it purely depends upon the time, whereas non-deterministic are also called as random signal, which is not predictable with respect to time. It does not depend upon the time. So behavior of these signals is random, that is not predictable with respect to time. There is an uncertainty with respect to its value at any time. These signals can't be expressed mathematically. Example, thermal noise. Thermal noise is generated in non-deterministic or random signals. Random signals are also named as non-deterministic signals. So these are not predictable with respect to time. Random signals are not predictable with respect to time, whereas deterministic signals are predictable with respect to time. Okay. Next, continuous time signals and systems. Continuous time signals and systems. Okay, what are these? These are all the properties of our signals. What are they? Even signal, odd signal, periodic signals. Okay, periodic signals, periodic signals, deterministic signals, random signals. Okay, continuous time signals and system. These are all the properties of our signals. See, periodic signal. Already we discussed about the even signal and odd signal. Even signal which satisfies the condition x of t equal to x of minus t, or x of n equal to x of minus n. Similarly, uh, odd signal has to satisfy the condition x of t equal to minus of x of minus t, and x of n is equal to minus of x of minus n. Okay, and next, periodic signals are there. Periodic signal. What is meant by periodic signal? A function is said to be periodic which satisfies the condition x of t equal to x of t plus capital T for all values of t. X of t plus capital T for all values of t. So the period with the period t, if for some strictly positive real constant t, the following condition holds: x of t equal to x of t plus capital T for all t. A t periodic function x is said to have frequency 1 by t and angular frequency 2 pi by t, or omega t. Omega omega is 2 pi f. Okay, or we can write this as 2 pi by t. Omega, angular frequency is omega. Omega equal to 2 pi by t or 2 pi f. A sequence x is said to be periodic with the period n. So which is said to be periodic, which has to satisfy the condition x of n is equal to x of n plus n for all values of n. An n periodic sequence x is said to have frequency 1 by n and angular frequency 2 pi by n. A function or sequence that is not periodic is said to be aperiodic. Aperiodic. There is no gap between a and periodic. Aperiodic, or it is also called as non-periodic. Aperiodic or non-periodic. Okay, aperiodic or non-periodic. See some examples of the periodic function. See, these are all the examples. These are the periodic function examples. Okay. Next, deterministic random signals are already discussed. Deterministic means it is predictable with respect to time, whereas random signals are not predictable with respect to time. Okay. Next, continuous time signals and systems, independent and dependent variable transformations. Okay. Next, coming to the independent and dependent variable transformations. Okay, first one is here we are going to discuss about the time shifting property, time shifting translation, time shifting, how it is time will be shifted, time shifting translation. Time shifting is also called as translation, that maps the input signal x to the output signal y, which is expressed as y of t equal to x of t minus b. Here the time will be shifted towards right side by b units. X y of t equal to x of t minus b, where b is a real number. B is a real number. Okay. Such a transformation shifts the signal to the left or right along the time axis. It may be t plus b or t minus b, like that. If it is represented like this, y of t equal to x of t minus b, then it can be shifted towards right side by b units. If it is plus b, then it can be shifted towards left side by b units. Okay. So if b is greater than 0, then y is shifted to the right by mod b relative to x. Okay, if b is less than 0, then y is shifted to the left by b relative to x. So some examples of time shifting property are, see here, see this is a x of t minus 1, it can be shifted towards right side by 1 unit. So that is x of t minus 1. It can be shifted to, this is x of t minus 1, this is x of t plus 1, it can be shifted towards left side by 1 unit. Okay. Next one is time reversal property. Time reversal or reflection or a mirror, all are same. So time reversal also known as reflection maps the input signal x to the output signal y as y of t equal to x of minus t. It is nothing. It is a looking like a even signal, right? Even signal means, so it is exact replica of the original signal which appears at the opposite side. It is nothing but a mirror image, like mirror image. Geometrically, the output signal y is a reflection of the input signal. Okay, x about the vertical line t equal to 0. So this is time reversal property. Time reversal means it is y of t equal to x of minus t, right? So like this, this is x of t. So x of minus t is this one. It is nothing but a exact mirror image. Mirror image. To put a mirror, if you put a mirror at here, it will appear like this. That's why it is called mirror image. Okay. Next, time compression or expansion is also called as a dilation. Dilation, compression or expansion, which is also called as dilation. Okay. So time compression or expansion maps the input signal x to the output signal y as y of t. It is nothing but the mathematical representation of our time compression or expansion. Y of t is equal to x of at, or 1 by a into x of t. You can either way we can express this mathematically like that. So y of t equal to x of at, where a is a strictly positive real number. Okay, such a transformation is associated with a compression or expansion along the time axis. If a is greater than 1, y is compressed along the horizontal axis by a factor of a relative to x. If a is less than 1, then y is expanded. It can be expanded, that is stretched along the horizontal axis by a factor of 1 by a relative to x. So some examples of time compression or expansion dilation property are these are the examples. This is the given signal x of t. X of t is like this. If it is compressed, it will become like this, and it is represented as x of 2t. And if it is expanded, it will be expressed like this, x of t by 2. So these are the examples of time compression, expansion, dilation. Next, time scaling. What is meant by time scaling? Time scaling. Time scaling maps the input signal x to the output signal y as given by y of t equal to x of at, where a is a non-zero real number, where a is non-zero real number. So such a transformation is associated with the dilation, compression or expansion along the time axis and or time reversal. It is associated with dilation. Dilation, already dilation property is also looking like this, y of t equal to x of at, right? In the same manner, it is also time scaling is also represented like this, y of t equal to x of at. If a mod a is greater than 1, the signal is compressed along the time axis by a factor mod a. If mod a is less than 1, the signal is expanded or stretched along the time axis by a factor of 1 by a. If a equal to 1, mod a equal to 1, the signal is neither expanded nor compressed. Okay. So if a is less than 0, the signal is also time reversed. So dilation means either expansion or compression, and time reversal commute. Time reversal is a special case of time scaling. Okay, with a equal to -1, and time compression or expansion is a special case of time scaling with a is greater than 0. So this is about the time scaling. So there is a similarity between time scaling and compression, expansion, and dilation, etc. Okay, these are the examples of the time scaling. X of t is given, x of 2t, it will be compressed. Okay, it will be compressed, x of t by 2, it can be expanded, x of minus t means it is the time reversal. Okay, next, combined time scaling and time shifting. Combined time scaling and time shifting. Combined time scaling and time shifting. Okay, see here, consider a transformation that maps the input signal. Transformation that maps the input signal x to the output signal y is given by y of t equal to x of at minus b, where a and b are real numbers and f equal to 0. So it is time scaling and time shifting. See, time shifting means if you write this as x of t minus b, that is time shifting. X of at minus b, that is time scaling. So it is the combination of time shifting and time scaling. Okay. See, the above transformation can be shown to be the combination of a time scaling operation and time shifting operation. So mathematically, it is represented like this. Y of t is equal to x of at minus b. Y of t equal to x of at minus b. Since time scaling and time shifting do not commute, we must be particularly careful about the order in which these transformations are applied. The above transformation has two distinct but equivalent interpretations. First, the time shifting x by b, and then time scaling the result by a. First, time scaling x by a, and then time shifting the result by b by a. So this is nothing but the combination of time scaling and time shifting properties, that is represented as y of t is equal to x of at minus b. Okay. See, example, x of t is given like this. This is the x of t. Time shift by 1 and then time scale by 2. So time shift by 1 means x of t minus 1, and scale by 2 means multiplied by 2t. 2t minus 1. So this can be compressed. Okay. Next, time scale by 2 and then time shift by 1 by 2. So time scale by 2 means multiplied by 2, it will become like this. So, and time shift by 1 by 2 means t minus 1 by 2. q of t minus 1 by 2. Okay, that is x of 2t minus 1 by 2, or it is 2t minus 1, like this. Okay. Next, amplitude scaling. What is meant by amplitude scaling? Amplitude scaling. So amplitude scaling maps the input signal x to the output signal y as given by y of t equal to a into x of t, where a is a real number. Amplitude scaling a into x of t, y of t equal to a into x of t. Okay, where a is a real number. Geometrically, the output signal y is expanded or compressed in amplitude and are reflected about the horizontal axis. See here, x of t is this one. See, x of t is this one. Okay, right? See, if you write 2 into x of t, it will be doubled. 2 into x of t will be doubled. Okay, half of x of t means it will be halved, and minus 2 into x of t means it can be reversed. Okay, this is nothing but the amplitude scale. Okay, next, amplitude shifting. Amplitude shifting maps the input signal x to the output signal y as given by y of t is equal to x of t plus b. Y of t equal to x of t plus b. Okay, where b is the real number. Geometrically, the amplitude shift adds a vertical displacement to x. So x of t is the original signal given here. See, x of t minus 2. So it will be shifted towards uh, downward by 2 units. Can be shifted towards downwards by negative side by 2 units. Okay, this is amplitude shifting. Next, combined amplitude scaling and amplitude shifting. Here also we are combining the amplitude scaling and shifting properties. We can also combine amplitude scaling and amplitude shifting transformations. Consider a transformation that maps the input signal, okay, x to the output signal y, which is given by y of t is equal to a into x of t plus b. So it is x of t plus b is nothing but shifting. Scaling means a into x of t, where a and b are real numbers. Equivalently, the above transformation can be expressed as y of t equal to sigma a into sigma x of t plus b by a into sigma b by a. Okay, see. First amplitude scaling x by a, and then amplitude shifting the result signal by b, or first amplitude shifting x by b by a, and then amplitude scaling the resulting signal by a. Next, symmetry and addition or multiplication. Symmetry and addition or multiplication. So sums involving even and odd functions have the following properties. The sum of two even functions is even. Sum of two odd functions is odd. Sum of even function and odd function is neither even nor not odd, provided that neither of the functions is identically zero. That the sum of functions with the same type of symmetry also has the same type of symmetry. So if we add two even numbers, we will get even number only. If we add two odd numbers, we will get odd number only. If we add even number and odd number, you may get even output or odd output. Next, products involving even and odd functions have the following properties. Two product of two even functions is even. Product of two odd function is also even. Product of even function and odd function is odd. That the product of functions with the same type of symmetry is even, while the product of functions with the opposite type of symmetry is odd. So this is the symmetry and addition multiplication of the functions. Okay. Next, we will see the decomposition of a signal into even and odd parts. How the signal is decomposed, how it is distributed, how the signal is distributed as even and odd functions. So, if you take a function x of t, if the function x has a unique representation of the form x of t, that is equal to xe of t plus xo of t. Xe of t is even function, xo of t is odd function, where the functions xe and xo are even and odd functions respectively. Okay, in particular, the functions xc and xo are given by xc of t. How to write xc of t? It is half of the sum of x of t and x of minus t. What is x of t? X of t is the original signal. X of minus t is its reflected signal. So we can represent this even function xc of t as half of x of t plus x of minus t, and xo of t is half of x of t minus x of minus t. The functions xc and x naught are called the even part and odd part of x. Xc is even part and xo is odd part, okay, respectively. For convenience, the even and odd parts of x are often denoted as even of x and odd of x respectively. So xc of t is even function, xo of t is odd function, right? Xc of t, xo of t. Xc of t is in particular it is represented as half of x of t plus x of minus t. Xo of t is in particular represented as half of xc of t, x of t minus x of minus t. Okay, right? Next, sum of periodic functions. Some of the periodic functions. Some of the periodic functions. So let x1, x2 be the periodic functions with the fundamental periods t1 and t2 respectively. Then the sum y is equal to x1 plus x2 is a periodic function if and only if the ratio t1 by t2 is a rational number. The quotient of two integers. Rational number means the quotient of two integers. Suppose that t1 by t2 equal to q by r, where q and r are the integers and comprime coprime have no common factors. Coprime means these are having no common factors. Then the fundamental period of y is rt1 or equivalently qt2 or rt1 equal to qt2. Note that rt1 is simply the least common multiple of t1 and t2. Although the above theorem only directly addresses the case of the sum of two functions, the case of n function where n is greater than 2 can be handled by applying the theorem repeatedly n minus 1 time. So it is represented as y equal to x1 plus x2, sum of periodic functions. These are the this will satisfy the condition y equal to x1 plus x2 if and only if the ratio of t1 by t2 is a rational number. Is a rational number. That is, if t1 by t2 equal to q by r, t1 by t2 is equal to q by r, then t2 into q is equal to r into t1. Next, coming to the right-sided signals. Signal can be represented right side. It can be represented right side. A signal x is said to be right-sided if for some finite real constant t naught, the following condition holds. So x of t equal to 0 for all values of t is less than t naught. X of t equal to 0 for all t is less than t naught. That is the condition for right-sided signals. Okay. See, that is x is only potentially non-zero to the right of t naught. An example for the right-sided signal is shown below. So this is x of t. So t naught, it can be shifted towards the right side. X of t equal to 0 for all t is less than t naught. So from minus infinity to 0, it is 0. From t naught, it has the value. Okay. So x of t equal to 0 for t is less than t naught. A signal x is said to be causal if x of t equal to 0 for all t is less than 0. A causal signal is a special case of a right-sided signal. Okay, causal signal is not to be confused with a causal system. In these two contexts, the word causal has very different meanings. Okay, causal means which will satisfy the condition x of t equal to 0 for all t is less than 0. For all t is less than 0. Next, coming to the left-sided signals. So already time is very near to us. So up to here we'll stop the today's class. From tomorrow onwards we'll continue the next class. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue the next class. Okay, sure.